Welcome to another episode of the Woollentwine Fibrestudio Knitting Podcast. My name is Jule and I'm the dyer and maker behind Woollentwine Fibrestudio, which is a small creative space located here in northern Germany, where I play with natural dyes and natural yarns. I am back with another knitting episode. If you're new here, welcome, and if you are a returning viewer, then welcome back. I'm really happy to have you here, and today I'm trying out a couple of new things. So if the image is kind of different, I'm filming with a different camera today. So we've had a couple of autofocusing issues in some of the past episodes, and I'm just experimenting with a few things and hope that this will improve things. Feel free to let me know what you think of it in the comments below, and until then I guess I'm just gonna share some things about my knitting today. It is finally really autumnal here in the north of Germany. We've had a couple of really warm days still at the beginning of October, and I was really, tired of the warmth, to be honest. And with the colder days coming, my knitting mojo really went wild, and I kind of craved so many cast-ons, and I did cast on a few things. I don't have a lot of finished things to share, but I have a lot of new cast-ons that I'm really excited about. And I don't know about you, but I always have to have kind of a different lineup of projects, even though I do kind of consider myself a monogamous knitter. And I like to focus on one or maybe two projects at a time. I kind of need certain projects for certain occasions. Like, I'm traveling back and forth between my home and the studio, and of course I have to keep my knitting with me, but sometimes things get too large to carry around and then you need another portable project. I don't know if that's only me, but I kind of felt the urge to get myself some different types of projects with me, and that's what I want to share with you today. Just a quick update on studio things. For those of you who are new here, we just moved the Woollentwine Fibrestudio to a new place a couple of weeks ago, and it's been a journey, but we're really settling in at the moment. I feel like the work, how the processes are, it's much better now, and it's much smoother now, and things are really settling in. It's still, every week there is something new that I find out that I need to change, or I need to, shuffle around. There are a couple of things that I still need to furnish, such as the office room that just slowly is coming together, and there are still quite some things to do, but I want to keep updating you on what is going on. Currently I'm thinking of getting myself a packing station built to save on some storage space, and the next project will be to furnish the office room. I finally found the perfect seating area, because I wanted this room to be also the cozy, let's take a break in the busy day area. So I wanted something where I could also relax a little bit, and therefore was looking for some small, beautiful and easy to take care of seating area, couch kind of thing. And we work with a lot of yarn and dyes, and so the amount of little hairs and fuzz and dirt if I'm honest, is quite a bit. So we needed something that could be easily maintained, and where we could take the covers into the washing, just because it can always happen that someone has, like I have right now, some dye stains on the hands or so. So that is what's going on at the studio at the moment. And furthermore, I did knit a lot recently, and I hope that I can keep up with recording these episodes rather frequently again, because I really missed podcasting, and I really do enjoy updating you on what I've been working on. But yeah, without further ado, let me start showing you a few things. I do have one finished object. I lied in the intro a little bit. I have one finished object that is actually just a new yarn. It was dedicated to be a new yarn test, but I'm actually really happy with it. I'm going to wear it. And then I'll show you some of my whips, and yeah, I guess that will be it for this episode. The first finished object I want to share with you is this one, and it is the Hosma beanie by my friend Jenny of Kotikotoni. Again, you can see I'm a true fan of hers. And this one is actually not blocked yet. So I'm always so hesitant in blocking hats because I never know how to, how to block them properly. Like, do you put them on a balloon, or what do you do? What's your favorite blocking method for hats? Because this one really, I can totally tell that once you block it, the texture will pop loads. And yeah, the yarn is something that I'm currently testing out, and that, I dyed to kind of see how it takes dye. And what I like to do with my testing is that I, with new yarns, I like to dye them in a pretty dark shade so I can see how it responds to the dye, and how it takes it. And darker dye, like darker colorways, usually aren't as easy. So yeah, I was really curious to see how it would turn out. But yeah, this is the Hosma beanie by Jenny of Kotikotoni. And I really need to knit more hats because, yeah, not only am I usually going out of the house with wet hair whenever I wash it, so I know it's not good, and it's especially not good in the winter time, but I'm too lazy to blow dry my hair in the morning before going to the studio, if I'm honest. But also, we did cut my partner's hair when we were on vacation into like a really short buzz cut kind of hairstyle, and he really notices that it's quite chilly now that he doesn't have that much hair anymore. So I'm really I have to knit some beanies and some hats in the near future, and I already have a couple of ideas on what patterns I could make, so let's see which one I will cast on. Maybe in the next episode I'll have another hat cast on for you. But yeah, I'm definitely going to need to knit him some hats so he can stay warm when it's getting colder and colder now. But yeah, so far about just one finished object. I wanted to update you on my works in progress, and one of them is one you already know and that you already saw in my latest episode, and this one is my Fernwood sweater, which is by, oops, there's some weird shaping, which is a beautiful pattern by Tania Barley of the Wool Barrow, and it is a colorwork yoke that goes pretty deep. And last time I think I was I just separated body and sleeves, and now I finished knitting the body part. I don't know if you can see. Yeah. So yeah, now I finished the body part, and for my yeah, for what I usually like, this is pretty long. But I thought it's nice for you to envision, how the pattern looks like in the new yarn that I'm actually also testing. This is another yarn in testing. And usually I do like my sweaters to be quite cropped. But for this one, I decided to go for almost full length. I think I only went down to like 3 centimeters less than the pattern calls for, because I'm not really that tall. So I usually have to go a few centimeters less in order for it to fit me well. But yeah, so far so good. This is the Fernwood, and I'm enjoying every stitch on this project. But as mentioned in the beginning, this is one of the projects that's just grown too much for me to carry around, so I try to keep this at home for now and just knit on it in the evenings. There will be some more color work on the sleeves now, because it repeats the pattern that is here on the body after the separation for the sleeves. And so yeah, I think I'm going to just start the color work and then see if and then see how long I will need to knit the sleeves, because yeah, for most of the times, even though my arms are not particularly short, the dedicated or the designated length in a pattern is too long for me. So yeah, I always have to kind of see if it works for me, or if I have to change the decrease rate and make them slightly shorter. But we'll see. I'll first finish the color work and then decide on what to do. But yeah, this yarn is a new one that I'm currently testing, and it is going to be, I can already tell, it's going to be a new limited edition. So it is a locally produced yarn that I cannot wait to bring to the shop. Maybe later this year if everything goes to plan. I hope to release it in November, but yeah, sometimes things happen, so not too sure on that yet. So, but let's see. It's a wonderful yarn. It's a woolen spun, and it's really good for color work. So let's see how that goes. On to my next whip. So my next work in progress is actually another project that has outgrown my portability thing. And it's actually a test knit. I don't usually do a lot of test knits because I'm always afraid that I might not be able to match a deadline whenever there are a couple of busy days, and you know, sometimes things are slightly unpredictable with yarn productions, and then I'm always afraid to, you know, have to disappoint the designer or something. So I don't usually participate a lot in test knits, but with this one I was so excited about the pattern I had to kind of join and ask the designer if it's okay, in case I don't finish in time, to just be, you know, like a casual test knitter. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, I think I will finish in time. So far it looks pretty good, but this is another Tania Barley pattern, and it is, I think she posted about it last month for the first time, and I already knew that I love it. And it's really hard to show, but this is the Rowan Shawl by Tania. I don't know if you can see. It is originally designed in two ways, and one of the samples of the original design is knit in our unspun yarn Thrive in the colorway Barley, which is also what I'm knitting it with currently. And it's really enjoyable, though it's impossible to show because you actually start casting on at the top part of the shawl, and then you kind of decrease, not really decrease, because you're just leaving the stitches on the needles and then knit kind of a border, but you know, you have the full amount of stitches. It's not starting from the bottom, which is, I think, the most like it's more popular, or more many designs are designed the way that they start from either the bottom or like one small triangle at the top, but this one has the full amount of stitches on the needles, which is why it's incredibly hard to show any kind of progress, because it's just a giant loop of stitches with this beautiful textured part in the middle. And yeah, it resembles a rowan berry plant, and I think it's really beautiful. And I think it's going to be huge. Like, I think Tania said that she was able to wrap herself 3 times in this shawl, and it's going to be huge. And I can't wait to wear this around the studio when it's a bit chilly, when I'm doing admin things, and just wrap myself into this big blanket of a shawl. I am using Thrive Barley Held Double. I don't know if you can see, but yeah. So this is Thrive Held Double on 5mm needles, And at first I thought the fabric was slightly too dense for me, but actually with the more, the larger it grows, the more loose I feel it is, and I think it will hold the shape nicely, which is something that I really enjoy, because in general with unspun it's nice that it's not weighing itself down, and I think with this one you want the pattern to, you know, stay put, and I think it's nice that the unspun will contribute to that. Yeah, so this is my Rowan Shawl. So far I think I have finished 200-gram cakes of Thrive, and I'm on my third in around, like, I think I've used around a third of the third cake. So it does take up some yarn. I think in the pattern she calls for 5 skeins, because you should be okay with 4, but since it is a limited yarn, it's always good to have an extra one, just so you can make sure to not run out. And actually, in case you have a leftover plate of Thrive, what I always recommend to people who are not sure how much to get, and I always recommend getting an extra plate, and then whenever you have a plate left over, you can always knit the Broom Hat by Melody Hoffman. I think this only requires 1 plate of unspun yarn plus some mohair, or I think you can even do it held double, depending on how thick the particular unspun you're using is. But yeah, that definitely is something I always recommend, and there are several patterns out there that you can do with just 1 plate of unspun, because it usually goes quite far. For those of you who are new to unspun yarn, I also have a full video about how to knit with unspun yarn, where I share my tips and tricks from what I learned about it over the years. And I mean, I'm not an expert, but I thought maybe for some of you who are new to this type of yarn, it might be helpful if I share what went wrong with me in the beginning and how you can prevent any issues that you might run into regarding breakage and such. I also share about the aftercare in this video, which is also a thing that I would, that people need to pay attention to when they work with unspun yarn, I feel. Anyhow, this is my Rowan Shawl, and I can't wait to continue on this. It's really flying off the needles despite the size, because it's just really easy. The pattern is really intuitive. You can work it from a chart or from a written instruction, and everything else is just garter stitch. So it's pretty easy and perfect for TV knitting. I do this in the evenings quite a bit, and since it's one of the sad projects that I can't really carry around anymore because it's huge, I enjoy knitting on this in the evenings, and just, you know, having it on my lap as a warming blanket already. So yeah, can't wait to continue on my Rowan Shawl and show it to y'all whenever it's finished. Actually, I'm already thinking, because I always have to make modifications to patterns, as you know me, but I'm thinking I kind of like the basic version of it as it is right now, and I know that the original pattern has this beautiful ruffle around, and I'm really indecisive whether I should do the ruffle or just go for like an I-cord and keep it kind of simple. Anyhow, I don't even know if that's allowed as a test knitter. You can see that I really have no experience with test knitting, but yeah, I'll ask Tania if that would be an option once I made my decision. But so far I'm really liking this project. It's so squishy and warm, and I absolutely can't wait to wear it around the studio once it's finished. But yeah, let's jump onto the next project. So as mentioned, I kind of always need a project that I can carry around, because I have to go back and forth to the studio and home, and I always like to keep my knitting with me. And yeah, both of these works in progress that I just showed you are totally too large to carry around by now. So I needed to cast on for another smaller project, and I was craving another pair of socks. And so when I saw Melody Hoffman of Bee Mandarins post about her new cast on that she just recently did, I was so inspired, and I had to kind of join her on this project because I've knitted this pattern before, and it's one of my best fitting pairs of socks still. I think I knitted it years ago when it just came out, and it still is one of my best fitting pairs of socks. And so I thought maybe this is a good way to just go for it and not contemplate on what pattern to knit, and just go for something that I know fits me very well and that I know that I'm going to love. And I really noticed that the days are getting quite a bit chillier, and for the most part when I'm at work at the studio, I know I'm moving around a lot. When I'm dyeing, you know, it's a lot of movement and a lot of physical activity, so it's not an issue for me to really get cold. But once I sit down at my desk and, you know, edit videos or work on the shop or work on admin things and emails, I do get quite cold. And especially I noticed that my feet got cold recently for the first time, and so I really needed a new pair of socks to wear around the studio whenever I'm doing admin things. And so this was the intention for this cast on. And this pattern is, I think it's originally called the Simple Sock number 3 by Melody Hoffman from her Simple Sock collective that she released, I don't know when it was, a few years ago. But I think it has been renamed to the seashell socks, and that's probably because it looks like they look like little shell elements. And yeah, this is just a very simple textured knit where you work some elongated stitches into the pattern, and it's super simple to work, and I really enjoy knitting on this. I remember that I already enjoyed it quite a bit when I did it the first time, and so yeah, this is kind of one of those comfort knits. And one tip I can actually give is, for me it's much easier to do the elongated stitches with a crochet hook, because I think the pattern just tells you to pick it up with using your right hand needle. But for me it's much easier to just use a crochet hook. I use a rather small one because this is a fingering weight project, so I don't want to poke through with like a bigger crochet hook. I don't really know what size mine is, but it's probably like a 2.5 to a 3. 2.5 or 3 millimeters, so it's EU sizing, not US. But the yarn I'm using is my own sock yarn Ovis in the colorway Maroon, and this one was released in the last collection, the September collection, and it's like a rusty dark kind of maroony shade. And I really like, you know, I was really craving for some autumnal earthy shades recently with October really starting off, so this was the perfect project to start out with. And I'm really happy with how this is turning out. It's again one of those really one more round projects, and I really enjoy working on it. Stitch marker wise, I'm using season appropriate pumpkin stitch marker by Maria of Forest Charm, and these are just so cute. I currently have them on pretty much every project I'm working on, I think. But yeah, this year kind of, it really got me into the mood of, yeah, all things pumpkin-y and really celebrating the season for some reason. Maybe because summer was really warm and quite long for how it used to be here in the north. So I don't know, I was craving colder days and cozy autumnal projects. Yeah, this project is also a new project in my little make-along that I'm currently hosting, and I'm afraid that I'm like the worst host at this because I never mention it again. I think I mentioned it in my stories and in my newsletter last month, but yeah, I really need to focus on actually hosting this thing. But I wanted to create a little community all around sock knitting with woollentwine sock yarns. So whether that's our discontinued previous sock yarn Corridel sock or our new one Ovis, I'm just, inviting you all to join me in working on some cozy socks that will keep your feet toasty during the colder months. I'm running this make-along because I'm calling it make-along because also crochet is welcome and any kind of other craft that you can use for socks. But yeah, I'm hosting this one on Instagram currently, and you can use the hashtag cozy socks MAL to post your entries, and there will be prices and everything. Although I want to keep this kind of casual, and I also don't have a set end date yet, so we might just keep it running for like a year or so, or however long we might feel it. But I will start drawing some winners as soon as we get a couple of entries there. So yeah, there will be yarny prizes and some sweet sustainable notion goodies. So I definitely recommend whenever you're using some of our sock yarns to post about it on Instagram using the hashtag and participating in the make-along. And depending on how big the interest it is, I could also open up to other platforms, although I don't really know if this is something you would enjoy, and if there is the interest even, because, I do have to kind of moderate everything, so it needs to be doable in the end, and I don't really know how many things I can juggle. So for now it's only on Instagram, but I hope to maybe expand if there is enough interest. But yeah, this is my little seashell sock that I'm currently working on, and I'm already planning to do quite some more sock projects, and I really enjoy working on these right now. So it might be that my sock mojo is in full swing again. So far about this little pattern. I will link all infos about the patterns that I'm working on and the yarns in the video description below in case you're curious about something. So for the end of this episode, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about one of my favorite recent fall activities that we did, and I unfortunately don't have a lot of footage from the day because it was really rainy and I didn't dare to take my camera out too much, but we went to visit a pumpkin farm for the first time in my life. I know in other countries it's much more popular to do it, but in Germany it's not really that much. So we went there with my partner Christoph and my sister Nele, and we also met up with her boyfriend at the end, and we picked a few really beautiful pumpkins, and some of them are for decoration and display now, and some we even carved at the same day, and it was just the coziest day, and I really enjoyed this activity. And yeah, just following up on the latest podcast episode, or the podcast episode before this one, because I was telling you about the plans of going to visit a pumpkin farm, and this time we actually did, and it was really sweet. It was a lovely day, and I can't wait to go back now that the days are actually cool enough to feel the full-on fall vibes. And because last time it was quite warm still, and although it was still enjoyable, I think I would love to go again once now it's really cold now. Yeah, and lastly, I also wanted to talk to you about my sewing plans, following up on what I told you in the last episode. I'm going to link that one somewhere as well, in case you haven't seen it yet. But I'm actually currently planning to sew myself a coat. I actually I cut out the pieces for this one last year already, but yeah, never managed to actually finish it. I don't know. It got really busy with looking for no studio space and all that at the beginning of 2023. So I kind of messed up and didn't really finish until winter was pretty much over. So for this year, I'm really eager to start sewing on this, especially because, cutting out is kind of the hardest part for me sometimes, because I want to make it, I'm always very precise and I want to make it perfectly, or as perfect as I can. So it always pressures me a bit, but now that the cutting out part is already done, I can just start sewing, and I'm really excited because the fabric I'm going to use is made from local wool, and it's beautiful. I'll make sure to bring some of the fabric samples next time I'm chatting to you. But it's beautiful, a really thick and warm wool fabric made from local wool, which is absolutely awesome, and I'm really happy about it. The pattern I'm going to be making is the September coat by Merchant and Mills, and it's just a classic kind of collared coat, and I'm just going to make it in black to suit the rest of my wardrobe. But yeah, next time I hope to show you a couple of samples of the fabrics and maybe even a little bit of my progress. I'm not even sure if that's something you're interested in, because this is mainly a knitting podcast, but the occasional sewing projects that are there maybe deserve some sharing too. I don't know. Let me know if you're interested in seeing my coat progress. But yeah, I guess that is it for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this little rambly episode and enjoyed my works in progress and my recent projects that I'm working on. Yeah, I hope to see you very soon on the next one, and that I can share some more updates soon. And until then, I hope you're enjoying the autumnal weather if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. And yeah, hope to see you soon. And until then, happy knitting and enjoy your day. Bye bye.